Hello, my friends. I come to you today to really open up, to share something that I've been struggling with for really years now. And my hope is that my experience provides some insight into your own experiences, because I know that I am not alone in what I've been struggling with. And it's also very healing for me to come on and to share this with you. And so before I really dive in to what I want to share, I just want to give you some background, some backstory, some context about who I am, and give you some context, right? So for those of you that don't really know me, you haven't been following Different Hunger for years. So I grew up my whole life playing baseball. That was really my identity up until my senior year of college, where I went to Emory University. I played baseball there as well. And I eventually got cut from the team. And so, I wasn't recruited. I was recruited to Johns Hopkins University in Maryland. However, when I went there my first year, it didn't vibe with me. It was like people were studying 24/7, and I was, I wanted to have fun. I wanted to enjoy my college experience. I didn't want to spend my entire college experience in my books, right? And that's kind of the vibe that I got. So I transferred to Emory, and so that was great. However, I wasn't recruited, so I really had to earn my stripes and earn my spot on the team. And so, I never really got on the good side of the coach. I struggled with anxiety as a player, and I never really felt that the coach really supported me. And I actually got cut again my senior year, right? So obviously my dream of being a pro baseball player was not in the cards, right? And so that was a big shift for me, because I had to change my identity, right? I had, my whole life I had been, Matt Cohn, the baseball player, and I had to really shift things. And that inspired a lot of introspection. I actually was able to study abroad, which opened up so many doors. And during that time, I really realized that I didn't want to be like all of my classmates at Emory, who were simply going and trying to find the highest paying salary job at the cost of all of their time and at the cost of meaningful work, really. And I saw that, and I knew that eventually I was going to have to build my own business, right? And so I ended up starting a blog, a website my senior year at Emory. That was to one day have enough attention and enough of a audience and a community built to one day build a business from that, right? But I did end up getting a job. Basically I saw it as an opportunity to getting paid to learn. So I worked in New York City for a software company, a software startup, for 1.5 years. And then I had a few experiences happen. My grandpa tragically passed away. A mentor of mine also passed away. And those were really big wake-up calls for me, because it was like, look, man, you got to stop delaying on your dreams, man. Like, this life is short. We have a short timeline, and tomorrow never comes, right? Like, oh, I'll do it tomorrow. No, fuck that. Right? And so I decided to go all in on my business. That was March 25th, 2016. That was my last day. And since then, it's been a wild ride, right? And that's really what I want to dive into, because, we talk about escaping the matrix. That's a big theme in my life, and a big purpose in my life is escaping the matrix and helping other people escape the matrix. But what we have to also realize, and what I found, and really what I want to share in this video, is that the matrix is not just working for an employer. The matrix is not spending your life doing what lights you up, doing what brings you the most joy, doing what you were born to do, right? Because the last few years, while I've been working for myself, and we're going on 6 years now in business, since 2017, which maybe 5 years actually, but while I've been in business, I've had so many amazing experiences. But what I've realized is the last few years, I've found my own matrix within my business. And that matrix has been the same matrix that I was so passionate about escaping when I was working for an employer, which was doing what lights me up, doing what brings me joy, doing what brings me energy, right? Because what I realized I have been doing the last few years, and I've been caught in this loop, this pattern, this matrix, is pursuing money instead of pursuing meaning, right? Because just to give you some context, like I started this business because my soul was hungry for something deeper and more meaningful. And I was not getting that at my job because, again, I didn't love the work. I didn't care too much about the work because it was a job, right? It was an obligation. However, what I've realized the last few years is I replaced that desk job with my own job within my own company. And I went from being a slave to an employer to a slave to my company. And I had been caught in this pattern because I would tell myself, look, you got to do what brings you income. You got to do what brings you money so that later on you can do what brings you passion and purpose. However, that constant movement of the goalpost has never come, right? Because here I am years later, and I found myself still doing a lot of the things that didn't light me up, that didn't bring me joy, that not only that, but my soul and my soul was not being fed. And because of that, I've experienced burnout, I've experienced anxiety, I've experienced depression, I've experienced all of those things because, again, I'm not being true to myself. I'm not being true to why I started. And I wanted to share this because I needed to become aware. It took me so many years, right? I would say, look, and just to give you an example, I've been doing a lot of client services work. And while a lot of the time these client services, this work, it's very well paying. One client is 2, 3, 4x what I used to make with my desk job. It didn't bring me the meaning. It didn't bring me the purpose. And I knew that. And I told myself, you just gotta buckle down. You just gotta do this. You gotta make it work. You gotta get the money so that you can then spend time doing the things that really bring you the most joy, the most passion. And I think that's a very traditional thought pattern, and that's a very common piece of advice. But here I am years later, and I'm still delaying and delaying and delaying. And so I've had to realize this. I've had to really look at myself, and my wife has been such a powerful guide for me as well, because she sees me, right? Some days I'm like, baby, what's wrong? Baby, what's wrong? Right? In her beautiful accent. Because she's really empathetic. She really senses my energy. and she can tell when I'm burned out, when I'm not fulfilled, when I'm not on fire. And we've talked about it, and she's helped me really see this pattern that I've been caught in for years, right? And so I no longer, it can't happen anymore, right? Like now I'm 30 years old, and if I stay in this loop, I'm gonna be 40, I'm gonna be 50, I'm gonna be 60 years old, and I'm gonna still be delaying the things that bring me the most joy because I'm chasing the money, or I'm prioritizing things. I'm prioritizing the material instead of the metaphysical, the soul, the deeper purpose behind everything, which again is why I started. This is why I started my company. I started my company for the freedom, for the excitement, for the energy. I didn't start it to be burned out and to be delaying the things that bring me the most joy, right? Because obviously you need to, I needed to make enough money to survive, but at this point with investments and the money I've saved and the business, that's not really an issue, right? I kept telling myself it was an issue. It's like, oh, you just need more money. You just need more money. You just need more money, and then you can do these things. But no, fuck that. Right now, I need to do what lights me up. I need to do what brings me joy. I need to do what I was born to do. And that has been such a powerful realization because I got caught up in the matrix. I got caught up in the matrix of my own dream. And I was delaying my true dreams for the money, for the material, for the very things that I knew were enslaving me in my previous job. And so I know my story is not unique, and I just wanted to come and share this, right? Because it's like, look, tomorrow never comes, right? Like my wife and I, we've been talking about starting a YouTube channel together. And we said, okay, well, tomorrow, right? And what do you know? We've been talking about it for 6 months now. No YouTube channel exists, right? And as human beings, I think it's so easy for us to get caught up in these loops and these patterns. But again, when this happens, it's a downward spiral, right? It's a downward spiral into depression, anxiety, burnout, suicidal thoughts, which are completely abnormal. But again, when we make delaying our dreams normal, those are the things that become normal, right? But what we need to normalize is spending the right here, the right now, pursuing the things and doing the things and being the person that we were born to be. And that is what my entire brand stands for, what my entire business was designed for. But again, I got caught up in the matrix. I got caught up in the matrix of tomorrow. And so I wanted to share this for my own sake, because this is very healing for me to come on, and it allows me to really move beyond this, and two, to support you in your journey. Because if you're like me, I'm sure there's dreams that you've been postponing to tomorrow. But has tomorrow come? Yes or no? Right? Because for me, it's been years. I've been, tomorrow has been a year, multiple year long cycle. And I needed to, get the outside perspective from my wife and from some other friends and mentors to really have this profound realization that tomorrow is never going to come. And all that we have is the right here and the right now. And we can choose to spend that moment being the person of our dreams and doing the things that bring us the most joy, or we can choose to delay those things and pretend that tomorrow or someday we're going to get to those things. Right? And so now, for me, I'm done. I'm done delaying my dreams. I'm done postponing the things that bring me the most joy. Right? I'm done spending all the time in my head and not in my heart. Because your heart knows what is meant for you. Your heart knows whether or not you are pursuing the things that bring you the most joy and energy or not. And for me, I had been in my head for years. I had been saying, well, logically, I'm doing what makes sense. But when you spend all your time in logic, like Alan Watts says, the person who thinks all the time has nothing to think about except thoughts. Right? So we need to have that balance between here and here. We need to be balanced between the head and the heart. The heart is the compass. The heart is the guide. The heart is the director. And the mind should be following along, not leading the way. But for me, I had been leading the way with my mind. And that's what caused that anxiety, that depression, that burnout. And so I'm very excited because, again, when we spend our time delaying the things that bring us the most joy, it sucks all of our energy, right? Instead of using my energy to create to the fullest of my ability and to express myself to the fullest of my ability, I had been using my limited energy and resources and time for the things that I felt like I was obligated to do, right? Because I was looking at maybe other people and other businesses that had a similar business as my own, and I was like, well, these guys are doing this. And I've worked with coaches in the past and they say, well, you got to do this and this is how it's done, but fuck that. There's no rules. There's no rules. And that's the whole essence of my brand and what I want to convey in the world. And I realized that I was out of integrity. I was living out of integrity with everything that I stood for. And I was out of alignment. Right? My thoughts, my feelings, my actions were out of alignment with what my heart knew. And that's where the suffering came from. That's where the suffering came from. And a misalignment. Right? Because if your heart knows what you desire most, but you keep delaying, then your heart is going to shrivel up, right? Because you're only living in your head. I was only living in my head. I was like, well, I know I want to start a YouTube channel with my wife. I know I want to create more videos. I know I want to create short films and, I want to just write books and all these things. But I need more money. But I need to wait until this happens, right? I'll be happy when. Just the classic, modern view of success and meaning and purpose. And I got caught up in that matrix, but now it just can't happen any longer. And so that's what I wanted to share. I wanted to share my story because, again, I've been to some dark places. I've been, unable to get out of bed for days in a row. which is completely unlike me. But again, it's my soul. That's my heart. That's my soul reacting to being ignored for so long, right? Like, let's think about it in terms of a relationship, right? Like, you want to have a strong connection to your heart, to your soul. And so if you're in a relationship and you keep ignoring the requests of your partner is going to have very negative reactions to that. And the relationship is not going to prosper. The relationship is going to die. And I felt that this connection, this relationship to my heart, to my soul, was dying. And again, I saw this happen in other people's lives, and I could very easily call that out, but I was blind to my own situation, right? And in reality, those judgments of others was just a reflection of myself, because I was not living my purpose. I was not living my dream. I was not letting my heart in, right? And so this realization is the only realization as far as I'm concerned. It's right here and right now. Are you living your purpose? Are you living your mission? Are you living in your heart, or are you living in your head? Because again, we need that balance. We need that balance between the head and the heart. And I think it's become so normalized in our society to only live up here, to only live in logic. And that's why we're so depressed. That's why I was so depressed. That's like it. We have to unite with our heart, which is the gateway to our soul, right? Because the soul is always for more expansion and evolution and experience and emotion, right? And so I had turned that off for so long because I was caught in this cycle. I was caught in this matrix, and I'm done. I'm done with it. And I'm very excited, as you can tell, because my energy is back, because I'm realigning with what brings me joy, what brings me purpose, what lights me up. Because, I mean, look at what's going on in the world, right? Some people are getting killed, attacked, and they, I'm sure, had things that they wanted to do, but they also probably delayed until tomorrow. And I'm so grateful that I still have the opportunity to be here right now and to choose, consciously choose, to live my purpose, live my mission, live in my heart, and do what lights me up. And so that's what I'm committed to. That is my sole focus for the rest of this year and potentially my life, right? Because if we're constantly delaying our dreams, we're constantly ignoring the requests of our soul and our heart, we're destined. We're destined to be depressed, to be burned out, to be anxious, and to not live a life that is meaningful, that is fulfilling, that is exciting. And that is why we were here. To be present and to enjoy this gift called life. So that's my story, and I hope that this brought some light to your day, to your journey, to your experience, and that's my commitment. And so I pray that we all live more in our hearts and less in our heads, and that we all start aligning with our dreams and with the things that we know we were born for. So that's all I got for you guys today. I thank you for listening, and I love you. So I can't wait to hear all of the amazing dreams that you have. And if you have any questions, feel free to reach out. And I ask you to declare, what is your dream? What is it that you are going to no longer delay? You are going to take action on right here and right now. And for me, that is being creative, being an artist, being a friend, being an adventurer. It's being more of those things and being less of the businessman, being less of the operator. That's for me personally, right? And so we all have our own unique dreams and our unique gifts and our unique desires. And so all I ask is that you give your heart the time and the space to make its presence and its desires known to you. Because if you give it that time, you give it that space, you give it that attention, it will come to you. Okay? So that's all I got. Thank you so much. Much love to you and your journey. And remember, listen to your heart. Listen to your heart and spend more time listening to your heart instead of your head. Thank you.